9 o'clock, and we do have
9:30.
quorum. 9:30 is what I said, I believe. And I gotta give a signal over to Dee so we can get started. We good? All right. So with that, we will call the meeting to order. We will, Madam Clerk.
Approve the minutes of the regular meeting on May 18th, 2021.
So first item is approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And if so, is there any discussion? If there is no discussion, then I will make a motion to pass the minutes as presented.
Second.
The minutes have been motioned and then seconded. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk.
Consent agenda items 1 through 25.
Does every member had a chance to review the consent agenda? And if so, is there any discussion?
Mayor, I would like to pull items 15 and 16.
Items 15 and 16 will be pulled and placed under as the next item on the agenda. Anything else to be pulled or discussion? I did have a question for the manager. Someone reached out and asked about CLAP. I think it's CLAP, the building over there being leased out. Wanted some more details on that. Sure. So if we could go take this moment to clear up any, or just to express more detail on that, that would be great.
Sure. Are you pulling the item off for discussion?
Not at this time.
Okay. But I've asked the Park and Rec Director to be here to provide some additional information. I thought maybe that would come up.
Then I'll go ahead and pull it off
Okay.
I'll go ahead and pull it off the agenda. Which item number is that?
6.
Number 6. So item 6 will be pulled off the agenda and placed under as the next item on our agenda. So is there any other items besides 6, 15, and 16 that would be pulled at this time for further discussion? If not, then I will make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion has been made and then seconded. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes do have it. That will bring us into consent agenda item number 6. So for that, I will recognize our Park and Rec's director. Sir, welcome.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. Troy Hauptman, Director of Parks and Recreation. So a little bit of background in regards to this idea in CLAP of using the old clubhouse for a retail shop. So we have this abandoned or not used facility. We want to make sure that we can use it. We've gone through and looked at the infrastructure, and it's in pretty good condition. We've met with a vendor here in town, Duck Discs, who actually sells a lot of disc equipment for disc golf. And we kind of talked about this in prior years, but since we are getting closer to the master plan, we wanted to put this into a pilot situation where if we can see what would it look like to have a retail vendor in one of our parks. The idea of the master plan, which you guys will see in the near future, kind of incorporates a retail shop in the park. So an idea of a place where we can have and serve coffee, have drinks, sell other kind of items to support the park, whether it's a place that we can rent out bicycles in the future, just all kinds of different things to also bring people to the park as a gathering space. So instead of leaving this place just vacant, we wanted to work with disc golf with Duck Discs to see if they could come in there and actually do some great things in there. And so we have a pretty good plan of how we want to execute that. So with the moving forward with the contract, we will get them in there this summer, and they would actually start doing a lot of tournaments. They can do leagues, and we would work with them on special events to bring in some movies. That's the location that we're looking at for the Margarita Run, and all this would be supported around this facility that has restrooms access and next to the parking lot.
Mayor, I just want to emphasize, this is only the temporary use. You will receive the master plan, I believe, this summer in workshop. It's going to be reviewed, and I think in June by the park board. Is that right?
Actually, I misspoke. That the park board has seen it. They actually got
Okay.
the review. That was when I was with the lame arm.
Okay, so it'll be coming to you for review. This is just a great way to make sure that we minimize vandalism of the facility, that we pay for the utilities and maintenance of the facility. We'll actually have somebody else do it, and then get a small amount of revenue coming in at the same time.
And as Bob mentioned, there'll be eyes and ears on the park, an opportunity for them to also help clean and make sure the park is operating correctly. But just to get more exposure to the park and have people come in and use it, not just for disc golf, but for other activities as well.
Okay. Other, Councilmember Fry.
So did we specifically target this business, or did we open it up to allow anybody to put together a proposal for this facility?
We did not do an RFP, and the reason why is because it's a very select group of vendors that support disc golf. I think he's the only one that has a disc golf shop here in town. But we were already working with them in regards to tournaments and to leagues. It's just going to be an extension of his current shop and adding some other items to support our programming as well. Very small contract. We're not expecting to make a whole lot of revenue out of this. We wanted to pilot it to see how it's going to work, and I think it's a good experiment to see what's going to look like if we do something like that in the master plan moving forward. I did not get any interest from anybody else. Not that I went out and looked for it, but when people started talking about this, I did not get any interest from anybody else on this project.
And I understand this is different than other situations. It's kind of, just trying to find usage for this building during the time of construction, really. So it might not be fully comparable, but does it compare to when our golf courses have a vendor on site, a pro shop? Do we go out for RFPs for that? How does this compare?
So our golf pros actually carry all the merchandise at the golf courses. So that's part of the idea of them managing the golf courses. They have an opportunity to sell merchandise and gain extra revenue. That does not go out for an RFP. That's part of their service and part of a mechanism for them to earn extra revenue for maintaining the clubhouse.
Okay. Is there any other discussions on this item?
It did go to the park board. We did meet with the new park board member on this item, and we did meet with Councilmember Cirillo prior to moving forward with the negotiations. So,
And the park board approved it.
park board approved it 6-1.
Excellent. Any other discussion? There is none. I'll make a motion, it's in District 3. I will give the floor over to Councilmember Cirillo.
And I would say in District 3, this has been known about for several months at least, and I've heard no complaints about this either, but like Park Director Hauptman said, we haven't publicized it, but I would make a motion to recommend that the City Council approve the contract and authorize the necessary signatures.
Second. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The ayes do have it. Back on, I think it was item 15. We're now on item 15. It was pulled by Vice Mayor Johnson. Therefore, Vice Mayor Johnson, you have the floor.
Thanks, Mayor. For both items 15 and 16, due to a personal conflict, I have to abstain, and I wanted to vote on the rest of the consent agenda, so I have pulled those two items.
Is there any discussion on items? So are we going to make a motion to pass both items 15 and 16? Is there any discussion on any individual ones? I think we can make that motion to pass both at once. With that, I will make the motion, if there's no further discussion, on to pass items 15 and 16 forward with the notation that the Vice Mayor will be abstaining from this vote. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Tuttle. With that, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same
Aye.
sign. The ayes have it. There are no opposed, and there is one abstain. Now, abstention is Vice Mayor Johnson. Back in the original agenda, Madam Clerk.
Report of award bids and contracts and Wichita Airport award bids and contracts dated May 24th, 2021.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Hannah Lang, Department of Finance. First engineering bid we have is Stormwater Sewer number 756, Ridgeport North Edition. Recommendation is utility maintenance contractors for $164,850. Tire repair and services, Wickman Bush Tires and Best One of Kansas Incorporated for groups 1 and 2. Ammunition defer to June 7th, Board of Bids. Rebuild Caterpillar Dozer, Foley Equipment Company for $395,655.30. Laser Flow Module, Teledyne Instruments for $151,691. Wildland Firefighting Apparatus Type 7, Weiss Fire and Safety Equipment for $477,813. James Jabara Facility Remediation, Midwest Cleaning and Restoration Specialty for $73,656. I also have the Q1 2021 infrastructure bid awards. The summary of infrastructure bids do come before the City Council. Infrastructure bids totaled $12 million in Q1 of the $15 million awarded in Q1. This is the infrastructure bid amounts with the number of bids per month, as well as the funding sources that came for those infrastructure bids. And this is the quarterly report for the minority and EBE funding. This is our purchasing procurement website, as well as our current open request for proposals. That is the Board of Bids recommendations. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
There are questions of staff. If there are no questions, then is there any discussion? If there isn't any discussion, then I will make a motion that we accept staff's recommended actions to receive and file the report, approve the contracts, and authorize necessary signatures.
Second.
Which has been made and seconded. All in favor of the said motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. The ayes do have it. Madam Clerk.
Petitions for public improvements.
Good morning, Mayor and Council members. Gary Jansen, Public Works Engineering. New and revised petitions have been submitted for 4 developments for your consideration today. Signatures on the petitions represent 100% of the improvement district for each one. All petitions are valid per Kansas statute. The first development is Abilene Place Edition, east of 167th Street West, north of Kellogg in District 4. New petitions have been submitted for water, stormwater drain, sanitary sewer, and paving improvements. The next development is Townhomes that reads Cove Edition, 127th Street East and 21st Street North. That should read District 2. New petitions have been submitted for water and stormwater improvements. Willow Creek East, 3rd Edition, south of Harry, east of Greenwich Road, also in District 2, has a new petition for stormwater drain improvements. And then North 45th Edition, near 45th Street North and Ridge Road in District 6. On January 5th of this year, the City Council approved petitions for improvements to serve this addition. The developer since submitted petitions with increased budgets. This is one of the developments that the developer has asked to contract out for design and construction, which the City Council has approved moving forward with. To comply then with state statutes regarding the use of special assessment funding, these petitions say that the city will acquire the completed projects instead of constructing the same. And these revised petitions are for water, sanitary sewer, stormwater drain, and paving improvements. Staff recommends City Council approve the revised petitions and budgets, adopt amending resolutions, and authorize necessary signatures.
The questions of staff. Not as a discussion. If there is no discussion, then I will make the motion to take staff's recommended action to approve the new and revised petitions and budgets, adopt the new and amending resolutions, and authorize the necessary signatures. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by the Vice Mayor. All in favor of said motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side. The ayes have it. The ayes do have it. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember appointments and comments.
Let's start off with appointments. There are appointments. I will go ahead and make nominate Jennifer Brehorn to the Diversity, Inclusion, and Civil Rights Board for appointment. Is there any further appointments? If there's no further appointments, then I will need a second on that motion.
Second.
Motion has been seconded by the Vice Mayor. Discussion? See none. All in favor of the appointment, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. The ayes do have it. Madam Clerk. Or just adjournment. Is there any other discussion to go to the group? See none. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes do have it. The ayes have it. We are going to follow the meeting with a workshop. Therefore, I will relinquish the floor to the city manager, Bob Layden.
Thank you, Mayor. We just have one item on the workshop today. We thought it was good to give you an update on the Northwest Wichita water facility, especially since we've now had some time under our belt in terms of construction. So we're going to bring you up to speed on the process to date and maybe a little glimpse of where we're headed next. So I'm going to turn over to Alan King to do the introduction of the item and to start the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good morning, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. In today's workshop, because it's been over a year now for this very important project, we thought it might be timely to bring you an update. What we'll be talking about today is the project background, talking about why we're doing this particular project, who's involved in it, and then also talk a little bit about the funding of this project. I want to give you an update on the design progress and the construction progress, and then also talk about an effort that's been underway to engage vendors in the work. This project was started with after an analysis looking at what do we do about the existing water treatment plant. It was built back in 1939 with an upgrade in 1957. We were concerned about the future of the facility, into the years. Should we do some additional significant upgrades, or should we build a new one? A study was conducted, and we looked at a business case evaluation, which made the point that a new water treatment plant was the way to go. So we have what we call now the Northwest Water Facility project underway. We started off with the lowest cost alternative and the most basic design, and then we started building up from there to try to add value to the project, particularly in the area of reliability. Because this is a single source treatment plant that serves about 500,000 people, it was very important for us to address the reliability of that water treatment plant. And so this design that we're building now is fully redundant, meaning that if a portion of this water treatment plant should go down, another part of it spins up and is ready, and you hardly see any kind of a blink in terms of the ability for us to provide water. Another thing that was really important to us was resiliency. Right now, the current treatment plant requires water from both of our sources. We have a well field up north where we get groundwater. We have the Cheney Reservoir out west where we get surface water. And with the processes that we use now at the existing water treatment plant, we have to blend both of those water types to be able to achieve water quality targets. With this new water treatment plant, we can take 100% of water from either of those sources. That's important because we have a big transmission line that comes from both the well field and a big transmission line that comes from Cheney. And if those transmission lines should go down for any reason, it impairs our ability to continue to produce water. If this, with this new water treatment plant, if either of those transmission lines should go down, we just go 100% to the other one. And again, we don't even miss a beat in terms of being able to produce water. So it's not only reliability in terms of redundancy at the water treatment plant, but it adds some additional functionality for the ability to accommodate failure of other major components of our system. The other thing that's important to mention is that right now, because we have to blend, we're dependent on the water level that's in Cheney in the case of a drought. And a few years back, 2011, 12, 13, we were in a pretty severe drought condition, and we were watching the level in Cheney go down, and it caused us some concern. So we resolved, under the direction of the manager, to figure out a way to become less dependent on evaporation and the level at Cheney. And so now we have the flexibility to be able to go to the groundwater that we have up in the well field, which is not vulnerable to evaporation, and we are now achieving a much higher level of drought resiliency. The other thing we wanted to make sure of is that we anticipated future water quality requirements and made sure that we had the robustness in our process and in our design to reasonably accommodate additional water quality requirements. We chose as a way to deliver this project a design-build model, which means that you have a team, and the team consists of both the designers that design the treatment plant and those that construct it, the contractors, and they work together as a team. We chose this particular model because of the advantages that it would have in terms of the total price on the project and the quality of what we end up with. And so we went ahead and entered into a design-build contract with Wichita Water Partners. It's a joint venture between Burns and Mack, McDonald Engineering, and Alberici Contractors. And as you can see on the screen there's quite a few different parties to this team, this design-build team. And so this is the way that we've actually proceeded with the design-build model. Another thing that was very important for us to make this project feasible, affordable, was how we financed it. So much of the cost of the total cost of the project is the interest rate that you pay for the cost of financing. So we went ahead and pursued a EPA Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act, or WIFIA loan, and we were successful. We also at the same time pursued the Kansas State Revolving Loan Fund, and were also successful. About half of the project is financed through WIFIA, and the other half through SRLF. The WIFIA fund loan is administered through EPA. We closed that on April 2020 with an interest rate of 1.17%, and that's locked in. So as you can see, that's a very favorable interest rate in terms of a loan, particularly of this magnitude. The estimated savings of being able to go through a WIFIA loan rather than financing it through our revenue bonds like we normally do with all other infrastructure, we estimate it to be about $97 million. So as you can see, this was a significant part of our strategy in building this Northwest Water Treatment Plant, to have this sort of financing available. The loan is due 5 years after the project completion. That really helps us on the cash flow associated with building this project. On the SRLF side, it's administered through Kansas Department of Health and Environment. They have us do it under 5 separate loans. One first loan, once it is over, then you negotiate a second loan with them, a total of 5. The first loan closed in November of 2020. It presently is at 1.48% interest rate, which again is a very favorable interest rate. And we anticipate the savings that we'll be getting with half of the project being financed with this form of loan is about $55 million. So as you can see, both these loans have an important part of our ability to be able to build this project with the minimum impact on our ratepayers.
Ellen, can I ask a question real quick? And if I should know the answer to this, I'm sorry, but there's 5 loans. Is the interest rate the same for all 5 loans? Or does it have to be-
There's no guarantee, council member, there's no guarantee that we're gonna get the same interest rate, but it's indexed off of treasury note, and so our confidence is high is that we will be somewhere close to that. And in our financial model, we are assuming an interest rate that's greater than what could be reasonably negotiated even in the 5th contract.
Okay, thank you. You taught me well.
So with that, with y'all permission, I'd like to introduce Bill Perkins. He's the project manager. He's the person who's actually making this whole thing come together and work like it has. And I'd like to have him come up and give you guys a progress on both the design and the construction. Bill?
Welcome, sir.
Good morning. As Alan said, I'm Bill Perkins, Public Works and Utilities. Give you a little bit more information on where we're at as far as actual design and construction. So the design aspect first. The chart here is showing both our anticipated and where we're at currently on design. So you'll see a line graph escalating up to 100% there. There's a range of where we expected the design to be at any given moment. The dark blue line in the middle is basically the median, and then there's a high and low in that range. The dark black line is where we were actually at along, and so we're pretty well sticking within the range, a little bit below the median this last month, but we're right there in the range, and it's progressing pretty much as expected, all the design is. Kind of a footnote as we were putting this presentation together and looking at different aspects, the project does have well over 70,000 cubic yards of concrete, and sometimes some of the numbers that we give a little hard to put into perspective. So if you put that concrete at 3 foot deep, that would be 13 football fields of concrete. So it's a considerable amount. So a little more detail across the site, where we're at on the design. We've got some percentages in different areas of the site. You'll see, of course, the 3 larger areas. The 3 large circles are our solids contact clarifiers. The large yellow rectangle is our filter building, and the large blue square is our disinfection trains. And so those are, because they're schedule critical, those are the ones that are furthest along as far as the design's concerned. The filter building is what's actually out there under construction today. It's what's actually started construction, and the solids contact clarifiers won't be very far behind. Across the site, the percentage of design varies quite a bit. The admin building, about 28%. Then we've got our generators, our generator and electrical at about 37%. Disinfection chemicals, stormwater, so we can clear the site of any drainage issues. We've got our backwash waste, our solids handling, our other chemicals, maintenance, headworks. And we also have some off-site work that we're doing. Obviously down at Hess, where we connect at the other end. We've got quite a bit of off-site work there. And general site piping. There's a lot of site piping. I'll show you here in just a minute, but there's a lot of site piping pretty well along the track of getting that designed as well. So percentages are all looking pretty good. So this is some general views, some screenshots of what the team's looking at as this design is progressing. So this is from the BIM modeling. You've heard BIM a lot, the building information model. So a 3D model of it that can zoom in and out. The upper view is without any terrain. So you're seeing most, not all, but you're seeing most of the underground conduit pipes and various infrastructure that's underground. And then the lower view is with basically the grade, the terrain turned on. And so you don't see everything that's underground at that point. That lower view is if you were up over top of the zoo and looking kind of to the northeast. So you see those solids contact clarifiers, those large circles, filter building, right there in the middle. Those are pretty good reference points. And then the large gray area you see towards the middle is the on-site sand pit pond. Then same idea, looking from a couple other directions. Again, from the 3D model, you can zoom in, zoom out, and look at it from all different directions. So the upper view is if you were up above 21st Street, looking south across the site. So the first building you see in the foreground there is our maintenance building with the admin and lab building off to the side, and again across the site. This lower view is if you were over top of the big ditch or I-235 and you were looking generally northwest across the site. So maintenance building and admin lab are off in the background. So zooming in a little bit closer, a couple of things that thought might be of interest to you from the BIM model. Again, this view is the filter building, and this is with the terrain turned on. So the stairs come down and they end at the ground, and we have lower doors that are at the ground. If we turn that terrain off, then you start seeing all the pipes and conduit runs and everything that's underground. It gets you a little bit more of a perspective of how much there is to coordinate below ground. And these are not small pipes. We're talking 54-inch, 60-inch pipes. So, I mean, it's quite a bit of coordination to get all that put together. The one thing I did want to point out here is on this view, if you look at this, there's two circled areas here with a purple circle. You see a little concrete pad. Those are where the two tower cranes are sitting. So when you drive by the site today and you see two tower cranes up in the air, that's what they're sitting on, is those two concrete pads. Excuse me. And then we have an early draft model of what our admin lab building will look like from the front. So this would be the front door of the admin lab building. Vast majority of that building is lab, and then we'll have some conference room, meeting room, and administrative offices in that building as well. So that's on the design side, so a little bit into the construction part of where we're at, to kind of give you a little bit of progress. This is where we started. This was from February of 2020. So basically, this is looking, again, from above 21st Street, looking south. So the zoo is off to the upper right, I-235 in the big ditch towards the upper part of the picture. And you can always see the sandpit pond that's on the site. Basically a mixture of scrub trees that have come up over the years, a little bit of storage, basically raw ground. Then in March, we started the clearing and grubbing. You'll see here that a lot of the trees are already starting to disappear. There's our sandpit pond that's on the site. And as we come back around, you'll see the tractors we're working on taking out the trees. As a reminder, one thing that we were able to accomplish is we worked with the facility out in Colwich, and all the trees went to a biomass. So they were all used. It wasn't just burned or buried. It was actually made into useful fuel. You can see the Cox machine facility, and you also see the self-storage. So this was the self-storage as it was when we started the project. Again, the tractors and track hoes taking out those trees. As we zoom around, you'll see Zoo Boulevard off to the right and the zoo, as well as the railroad tracks. And we'll zoom on around. Again, facing from the railroad tracks back towards the sandpit pond that's on the site. And we'll go a little bit further south. We'll turn around. You can see a little bit more of what the site up at the north end looked like, looking from over where the filter building basically is going up now. So again, you see the Cox machine, you see 21st Street, and the housing off to the north. After the site was all cleared and grubbed, the ground cover was put down, kind of went dormant for a little bit of time. There was still some work going on in the background, but as far as the site, the clearing and grubbing went so well that it went dormant for a while. had all of our stormwater pollution prevention put in place and was preparing for the construction trailers and started on the real construction. Then in October, we had, everybody refers to as the windy groundbreaking, very windy, speakers blowing and everything. But had a few city folks did some speaking. We were lucky enough, we got KDHE and EPA both came and spoke at our groundbreaking ceremony, and we got the project started. This was after all of our loans were closed, financing's all in place, so we were ready to go. So then in January, that's when the tower cranes went up, and that's when a lot of people that use the boulevard and live out west really noticed the project starting. February, we had about a 2-week cold snap. Not unheard of for Kansas, but a little bit unusual compared to the last few years. But project kept moving, just slowed down a little bit. And then a more up-to-date picture of where we're at. A little more updated pictures. So we've got construction trailers out there on the site. We've got the first part of employee parking for the trades that'll be working on the site. And you see the tower cranes. So coming from the tower cranes, this is the bottom of the filter building. So this is, we call it the slab on grade level. So that's what the SOG is. This is the bottom of the filter building. A lot of this will have water on top of it or very large pipes. It's the lowest level, and it's where the sumps will all come out. You see the scaffolding going up, so as the slab on grade gets done, the walls are going to start going up, and they have started going up now. We have rebar and stuff since this video was taken. So basically looking down the middle, this is where the pipe gallery will be. Right down through the middle will be a whole series of pipes and valves, basically bringing the water in and out of those filters. Off to the sides is where you see the filter bays. In the middle is where some pipes will go down to get underneath that pipe gallery, as well as where sump pits will be. There is a view here. There's where some backwash waste pipes will be placed, all getting concrete encased. And of course, there's still lots of earthwork to do on the site. Had our stormwater pollution prevention again, so we control any runoff into the sand pit. We don't want to create any problems there. And as we pan around, now the self-storage is down. There is one row of buildings still there, kind of being used as a temporary storage by the contractor, and that's where we are at today.
Thank you, Bill. I might mention, as far as still on the subject of progress on design and construction, we have what we call an owner's rep, Garver. They're the ones who provided us with the video, the drone flyover. They are working shoulder to shoulder with city staff to look at the design and the construction progress to make sure that the city's interests are being served per the contract. And their services have been invaluable. They've also been the source of a lot of value-added engineering ideas. Also to mention, in that very early part where you saw the grubbing and what have you, we started that project earlier than we would normally have started it. You saw that work was done, and then the kickoff. That was what we called our early works package, which was pretty safe stuff that had to be done anyway. And the grubbing and the site work. We saved over $1 million by allowing the contractor to proceed immediately with that. So we're looking for every opportunity we can to make this project as least cost as possible. So what other things have been going on? Well, we know that it's very important for the city and for we've been given direction by the council that we have a certain kind of participation in this project, particularly local vendors and contractors and EBE, DBE, the kinds of designations that we take, look at the various vendors at that designation to see if they're emerging business enterprise, disabilities, ones that are having difficulty getting started, minority business owned, women owned. That's a very important part of us to look at the participation in these various types of businesses. And so what has been happening is Wichita Water Partners has been doing some really amazing work with reaching out to the contractor and design community, and not only showing them that the work is there and available and encouraging them to propose and to participate, but also even giving them opportunities to train and to be more ready and to be more competitive. One example was the virtual procurement event that was held back in February 25 to help people get an idea about what kind of work was out there, what sort of opportunities exist. The Wichita Water Partners also had an entrepreneurship and innovation series taught by some notable experts in the area. Dr. Fred McKinney, Anthony Price, Steve Rogers, Ramon Peralta, and Gerald James. All very well-known leading experts in this whole area of getting emerging businesses to be ready to participate in these sorts of projects. And so they actually had some classes that they provided free to different companies and to show them not only how to be ready for this particular project, but for work in this general area, not just this project, but in this general kind of an area. One of the examples that they did was they had a meet and greet back in October in 2019, where they tried to invite as many people as they could think of, get the word out, and to have some face-to-face interaction with folks to let them understand, what sorts of opportunities and what sort of training was available, with a kickoff event back in January 2020. And they incorporated some important companies with them to help in that regard. Another thing that's really exciting is there's an apprenticeship program that's been developed by Burns and McDonnell and Alberici and in conjunction with WSU Tech. There's 5 scholarships available. It's a 2-year program where for 1 year they're getting classroom and spending some limited time out on the job site, and the second year more time, full time on the job site for that second year. The tuition is free, and the whole idea is to get them certified for carpentry certification at core level 1 or level 2, and this makes them very much more marketable, not only for the Wichita Water Partner project that we're talking about here, but for other projects in their career. At the Public Works and Utilities Appreciation Proclamation last week, we had some folks standing up, and one of those folks was a young lady who actually has been going through this project and is going to be getting a job through Donlinger, so we're already seeing the fruits of this effort. So it's not enough to make businesses aware of the opportunities and to help them prepare with business plans and marketing and how to write proposals and that sort of thing, but also to get the people who will actually be out doing the work to get them the skills necessary to participate. I might mention at this point that the EBE, DDE designated businesses and the local use data that we've been collecting, it's just a snapshot of time at March 24th, 2021. That changes as different projects are let, as material is ordered, and so you have to be, as you look at it, you have to be aware that if we're not right on the targets yet, it's only because we're early in the project. The majority of the work to date in the design services category has been 2 primary firms, being Burns and Mack and HDR, and that will change as we get additional design work that's going to be done. And as the construction starts to ramp up, we're going to see, in the areas particularly of construction, equipment, and suppliers, that we'll see these percentages get closer to our targets. This is a slide that was provided to us by Wichita Water Partners that shows the first pie graph there shows the mix between non-local and local participation. And as you can see, the local is at 56% presently. Our target is, the target that was announced by Wichita Water Partners at the beginning of this project is 85%. So we're a little ways away from that, but they anticipate that these numbers will change as we get farther into the project. On the slide on the right, the pie chart on the right, it shows the EBE, DBE participation in this project. And as you can see, presently it's at about 6%. The target is at 7%. Again, we expect those numbers to get closer to the target, perhaps even exceed the target as we get further along in the project. So next steps, what to expect. There will be continued efforts in the area of design and construction on the project. As you can see from Bill's briefing, he showed you that not all the design is complete. We continue to work on the design of certain parts of it. Construction is obviously underway, but there are also help that we get from our steering committee. There's a steering committee made up of Councilmember Fry and Vice Mayor Johnson, who sit on that committee along with other interested stakeholders, and they help us as we go through this project to answer questions that we really would like to get a different perspective, another set of eyes on. So for example, they were instrumental in helping us figure out how to site the power substation that's going to be used to power this treatment facility. They helped us identify what would be the optimum location for our administration building, something that is more outward facing and visible to the public and usable to the public. Most recently, we met with them and they gave us some advice on what to look for in terms of aesthetic improvements, the fence that's going to be going around the facility, also the way that the administration building would be used for interpretive displays inside and meeting rooms inside. So we continue to tap them and ask them to help us as we go through this project to kind of guide us in some of these sort of areas. The energy agreement we'll be bringing to you pretty soon that actually locks down the substation being built that's going to power the treatment. We're going to have a dedicated power substation that will be used solely for this water treatment plant. And it's going to be hardened too. So again, even with the on-site generation, even the power supply is going to be hardened. KDHE will continue with submittals and reviews. That's an ongoing process. And we actually have made our first WIFIA and SRLF draws. So we're actually paying bills. It's a real sign that the project underway is that we're getting bills and we're paying them. So that's what to expect. So we estimate that the substantial completion date is September 17, 2024. So it's a little ways off yet. We've got a lot of construction yet to go, but it's on track, it's on schedule, and we're pleased to report that the product that we're getting meets and exceeds those that we had imagined when we started this whole project. So with that, I'm available for any questions you might have.
Questions of staff?
Yeah, Mayor, I have one. I don't know if this is an Alan or Bill question, but has there, since our steering committee meeting, I know that the water partners were looking for maybe 2 more companies to participate with the scholarship. Did they find those?
I don't have an update. Last I heard.
Okay.
We'll keep you up to speed on that, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Further discussion or questions? So I have one. Mr. King, you state that we're on track, on schedule, and we have met or exceeded expectations. Are there any concerns at all at this point in the project that we should be made aware of?
No, sir, no real concerns. We're kind of keeping our fingers crossed and our breath, holding our breath, because this is a very large, complex project, and we're still early on in it, about somewhere around a quarter of the way through it. Just wondering if there are some unforeseen developments, but there isn't any indication that those are on the horizon. Things seem to be working just exactly per plan. So I don't want to sound too optimistic, but I'm pretty optimistic.
All right. Councilmember Fry.
Thank you. I don't have a question, but it's more of a comment. Excellent presentation, Alan. Thank you. I would love for you to, or someone come and present this at my DAB as well. There are still people in my district that don't know what those cranes are for. And so I think the more constant communication we have, especially a project of this magnitude, sharing it with our public is important, and it's great to see the progress. It hasn't all been work. There has been some fun. For those of you that remember, back in January, Vice Mayor and Councilmember Claycomb and I was at the site. They have a mascot on the site, and they had a naming contest where Wichita Water Partners raised some money for the zoo as part of a naming contest, and I think they raised $5,000, and they came up with Hydro Joe, this giant gorilla. It's very fun and very cute, and I think it's making some rounds around town to further educate the public. But there were 3 names, but there were 2 other names that didn't make the cut. And you probably didn't know this, but there was 5th place was Don H2O Henry, and 4th place was Alan King Kong. So just having a little fun. So again,
That's an impressive collection of toy gorillas, by the way.
that's right. So
For a guy with teenagers at home.
no, those are mine.
Oh, very good. Further questions?
I think we should make a display at the new plant in September of '24 and put those in there.
The Critter Club, right?
Not a detailed question, but just I did have someone online kind of ask what happens to the current facility once this is done. If you could just give a brief what that might look like.
That's actually a really good question. We have a facility, it functions, it's old, but we've been modernizing it as we go along, as things seem to reach the end of their useful life. When we get, for a while we're testing out the new water treatment plant, we will need to have the existing water treatment plant in place so we can switch back and forth, and we're doing some valving and piping to make sure we're able to do that. Once the new Northwest Water Treatment Plant is online, then what we'll be looking at is some sort of a mothball strategy. And one of the things we're going to have to study is to what level do we want to make it ready? Do we, how much money would it cost us to have it up and running in a week? How much in a month? How much in 6 months? The more money you spend, the more quickly you can have it come online, the more expensive the mothballing measures are that you have to do. And so we have to do a business case evaluation to determine what is the right amount of time that we can bring it back up relative to the cost to do that.
Okay.
Ellen, I just want to extend kudos to you and your team. Not only do we have this project, but we also have the BNR. And so to have 2 legacy projects going on at the same time is an incredible amount of work that's added to your already busy schedule. So just again, kudos to you and your team for all they're doing and for being so thoughtful and considerate, and make sure that we're being very conservative with our taxpayers' time and treasure. Thank you.
Further discussion? See none. Thank you, sir. Mr. Layton?
Mayor, that's all we have this morning.
That's all
Just
we
a
have.
reminder, we do have a budget retreat this afternoon starting at 1:30
1:30.
in this room.
Same spot. All right, so we will adjourn and meet back at 1:30 for a discussion on the budget. Thank you all.